to the August 12th, 2025 Community Reinvestment Agency Board meeting. Our meetings are public and you are welcome to join us in person, on Zoom, or by watching from the City Council's agenda page, YouTube, or SLC TV. We hope you'll continue to join us in whichever manner you feel most comfortable. We begin our meeting with comments to the board. I'd like to remind everybody that written comments may be submitted to CRA offices via mail at P.O. Box 145476, Salt Lake City, Utah 84114-5476. Email at council.comments@slc.gov or 24-hour phone line at 801-535-7654. Before we start, I'll remind everyone about our rules of decorum, which are in place to ensure our meetings move along well and to help everyone feel comfortable sharing their comments. A copy of the full rules are available. If you want to make general comments today, we are accepting them in person, online, or on Zoom. Scott Corpney from staff will moderate our Zoom and will message you with any questions about your registration. If you need to speak with staff, select Scott from the list of participants or raise your hand in the Zoom window to indicate that you need something from the host. Taylor Hill will be calling the names of those who wish to comment based on the order in which they received the names. If you are on Zoom, you may then unmute your mic when Taylor calls your name, and if you're here in person, you can come to the podium. So we will now open our general comment period. Taylor, do we have anyone here to make comment to the CRA board?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We don't have anyone registered today.
Sorry, what was that? No comments? Okay, thanks. We do not have any public hearings, so that's section 1. We have not any public hearings today, which brings us to Community Reinvestment Agency business. Our first item of business is actually to enter into closed session. So board members, I'm looking for a motion to enter into closed session for discussion of purchase, exchange, or lease of real property and advice of counsel.
I move that we enter into closed session for the purpose of lease or exchange of real property. Did I get that right?
And purchase.
And purchase of real property.
Exchange, or
Second. Oh.
and
Attorney-client privilege.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Board Member Petro and a second from Board Member Lopez Chavez. I will roll call that. Petro?
Yes.
Pui?
Yes.
Orton?
Yes.
Lopez Chavez?
Aye.
And Dugan, are you?
Dugan.
Oh,
Yes.
and I am a yes. That is 6-0 with Board Member Young not present. So we are going to actually move down the hall for closed session to the canon.
You should be okay now.
Can you hear us now? There we go. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, board members. Brown Seabright, Project Manager with Tracy Tran, Senior Project Manager. We are coming before you with a proposed loan amendment to the Palmer Court loan. Next slide, please. So as a bit of background, Palmer Court is a former Holiday Inn hotel property that was redeveloped in 2008-2009. It's a roughly 6-acre parcel located in between Main Street and State Street. When it was converted from a Holiday Inn hotel, it was converted to a 201-unit, deeply affordable, permanent supportive housing project that includes 148 studios, 7 one-bedrooms, and 46 two-bedrooms. Being deeply affordable, they're targeting affordability levels at 30% of area median income or less, and includes on-site supportive services. At the time, the Road Home, who redeveloped this property and owns it today, was contemplating the conversion of this site. At the same time, the CRA, at the time RDA, was considering the teardown of 2 single-room occupancy hotels located on State Street, the Regis and Cambridge hotels. There's not an exact definition on a single-room occupancy or SRO, but generally they're smaller units that are rented at shorter periods, longer than a typical hotel, but shorter than a typical lease. And with the demolition of those 2 hotels, the CRA was looking for mitigation strategies, specifically how to rehome some of the people who would be displaced from that project. And that is the current site of the Astor project across the street from the Gallivan Center. So as part of the capital stack for that redevelopment, the total project cost was around $19 million. The CRA contributed $3 million to the project as a 25-year forgivable loan. We'll discuss a little bit more on that later in this presentation. And in exchange, the project would provide 60 of those 201 units to be short-term rental SRO-style units that would be made available for at least weekly rentals, which the ability to convert them to month-to-month leases. Next slide, please.
Just want to quickly note on that last slide, it did say Sunrise Metro. That was a typo. We are talking about Palmer Court.
Okay, and so the reason we are coming before you today is because Palmer, the Road Home has a proposed change in use for the Palmer Court site. The current configuration of this converted hotel project is expensive and difficult to maintain and keep up. It's got multiple exits and entries that cause security and potential crime issues, and requires the Road Home to have additional security, which drives up expenses for the property. So the plan the Road Home has presented is to redevelop what is currently a parking lot along State Street into a new project, Gardens at Palmer, and that will allow the relocation of the residents into more deeply affordable, permanent supportive housing. Next slide, please. Following the construction and occupancy of Gardens at Palmer, that'll allow for the demolition of the original Palmer Court site. Next slide, please. And then that will open the remainder of the site for future phases and additional development beyond just the replacement of those units. So next slide. Here you can see part of the reason the Road Home is seeking this loan amendment and a new development is because the existing units are essentially converted hotel rooms, and the new development is proposed to have trauma-informed units that are better designed to meet the needs of the specific residents that will be occupying them. Next slide, please. So for the CRA's loan on the project, it is a $3 million forgivable loan with a 25-year term. It was issued in 2008. Beginning in year 15, there are forgiveness provisions to forgive $300,000 annually up until the maturity date in 2033 when the loan is fully forgiven. The issues that the road home faces with the CRA's requirement for 60 SRO units is how they want to finance the new project. They are seeking LIHTC financing, and they want to use project-based voucher subsidies. Those require minimum lease terms of 6 months and 1 year, respectively. Just prior to this meeting, the road home let us know that they were awarded their LIHTC tax credits for this project. And while these units can be made available to rent on a weekly basis, in practice, almost all of them are renting month to month, and the average tenure of one of those units is over 3 years. So the road home has expressed that the modification of this requirement functionally won't change how the property, the residents use the property, but it will allow them to better utilize the existing units. They can fill existing SRO units with people using vouchers, and it'll allow the financing for the new Gardens at Palmer project. Next slide, please. So as mentioned, the road home's request is to modify the requirement for 60 SRO units. That would apply to both the new development and to the existing development, allowing for improved operations of the site. And our recommendation is that we grant the modification request with additional benefits in future phases. That includes giving priority for the residents, the current residents of the 60 SRO units during the lease-up process of the new development Gardens at Palmer. And the borrower is also committing to a CRA preference for additional units in future phases where residents who might be at risk of displacement could be prioritized in unit leasing. So with that, that summarizes the loan modification request. We are happy to take questions. And additionally, we do have representatives from the road home here, Michelle Flynn, the executive director, to answer questions if you have questions for them.
Board members? So just to clarify, the CRA is not being asked for any additional funds. It's just to modify the loan that was given 15 years ago or however,
Yeah.
and continue to forgive the $300,000 per year for the next, I guess,
Until
7 years.
2033.
And with the modification, they will be long-term rentals instead of short-term.
Yeah, that's correct. Our financial position does not change.
Okay. Board members, I think we should support this item. It is in my district, and the current configuration of Palmer Court has proven to be difficult for security and safety at the site, and so I'm very excited that they are redeveloping this. I've also been able to hear from the road home and some of their plans to incorporate multiple sizes of units and to do a project that will serve more families, but more families in a way that is more safe and that will hit the broader spectrum of the needs of housing in our community. I think I think that I would like to ask for your support on that. So do we need to take action today?
Yeah, there is a resolution in the packet for your consideration.
Board Member Petro.
So the world clearly is so different today that I can't even comprehend why short-term SROs were a thing. I don't think we would ever ask for them in today's. I'm hoping that as we do, I'm very eager to do this as well. I think this is one of the entities that predictably is in the space, and I don't believe that when an industry that has socially been stressed out beyond what is manageable fails to hit marks, that we punish them. I think we invest in them strategically using their expertise and our resources. So I'm going to squash all those narratives real quickly in acknowledging my only hope is that as we move forward with this project, similar to looking at the SRO thing and how outdated that became in just 15 short years, we're looking at all other aspects of this development and making sure that as we're investing and forgiving as much as we can, that we're making sure that this development is as forward-looking as possible. We're clearly in a crisis that we've never seen, but I anticipate to deepen by the hour for the next 4 years.
Thank you, Board Member Petro.
Mr. Chair, I would like to propose propose a motion, but quickly I would like to say that this is an example of how Salt Lake City residents and its government is invested with money, not only with our actions every day, with tax dollars in solving the issue, on trying to put our minds into mitigating the impacts that we are seeing in our streets and in our city. So with that, I would like to move that the board adopt a resolution approving the amendment to 2008 Palmer Court loan.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Okay. Motion from Board Member Pui, second from Board Member Petro. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Board Members Lopez Chavez and Young not present. So that brings us on to, we have a C3, a resolution for amended and restated lease for the Delta Center. Is that Danny? Oh, Mark.
I believe Mark is going to the table, and I believe the mayor will also make some comments.
Oh, that's right. I was told that. I forgot. Sorry. Mayor Mendenhall and our city attorney.
Want me to go first? Yeah. I feel like I'm in trouble in elementary school, sitting
looking
here
down
below you at this table. Thanks for accommodating the meeting in here. Also, we appreciate that. We're excited to be here with you as we take this important step toward the finalization of the renegotiation of our Delta Center lease. And although this is an area of our downtown that's been in the headlines quite a bit recently, it's a moment that actually has its roots beginning 30 years ago. Because in 1990, Salt Lake City entered into that 50-year lease with the Larry H. Miller Company for the land where the Delta Center stands today. The lease was set as just $1 a year as a symbolic gesture of our support for the revitalization of downtown and the development of a major sports and entertainment venue. So we fast forward to today, where the Smith Entertainment Group is taking on major arena renovations even as we speak, and planning for this broader entertainment, culture, and convention district. And it's time that we bring our old lease into the present in this new context. So the update that's before you reflects the changes and the growth that we've seen in the area and that we continue to want to be invested in. Because at the heart of this update is our entire downtown core well-being and stability. This is about our continued commitment to public ownership of the land beneath the Delta Center. So while SEG is making these significant investments in the arena and the surrounding district, the CRA, the people of Salt Lake City, will maintain full ownership of the land under the Delta Center itself, ensuring that this downtown asset remains in public hands for generations to come. Because from the very beginning in 1990 and even today, the dollar amount has never been the purpose of this lease. It's about long-term value that we see in the arena and in our downtown core. It's about ensuring that this iconic venue with its appropriate name of the Delta Center, now back on it, remains a benefit to our community in new and in meaningful ways. And I think that's what our focus is as the CRA, on maximizing indirect benefits, maximizing the public benefits, and assuring that they happen for visitors, our tourism, jobs, small business opportunities, and even the opportunity of economic stimulation throughout the downtown core. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'm grateful for your long-standing work with us over many different agreements to hear what your thoughts are on this today. That's all for my comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark?
Sounds good. Thanks. Thanks, Mayor. I'm here today to discuss the term sheet that is up for consideration by the CRA Board. As the Mayor explained, we believe the term sheet and a lease we've been negotiating will provide public benefits for generations to come. Why are we here today? Currently, SCG has a lease for the property where the Delta Center sits. Originally in 1990, it was scheduled to last for 50 years with some amendments that would take it to 2040, of course, and then with some amendments that were recently agreed to, it would take it to 2060. But as things have changed, as we think about what this greater sports, entertainment, cultural convention district might mean, SCG approached the CRA for an idea for a longer-term lease, a 100-year lease that would take us potentially to 2125. The public benefits we see from the lease, and we'll go through the terms in a moment, are that the longer-term lease will foster activation and higher quality development of the area and the specific parcel, which will bring those greater economic benefits contemplated for the district that the mayor mentioned. The term sheet will also tie the Jazz and Mammoth 30-year home game covenant from the participation agreement to the actual lease, and provides for a market rate lease should both teams leave. In other words, it provides an additional incentive for the teams to stay in the Delta Center. From the participation agreement, it ties this concept of a first-class professional arena into a maintenance standard for the actual lease. It also facilitates increased communications regarding plans for the arena and activation around the arena area. And finally, it significantly increases and modernizes the insurance coverage. So those are the public benefits that we see. I'm happy to run down through some of the key terms from the term sheet, if you like.
Board members, would you like Mark to go through the key terms?
Yes.
Great.
Yes,
I'll
please
go
do.
through that, and if at any point I'm getting too drony or, and you want to interrupt me, just let me know. The parties to the lease will be the CRA and Jazz Arena Investors, which is an affiliate of SCG, Smith Entertainment Group. JAI is the current lessee and operator of the Delta Center property. The lease term has an initial 30-year term, which is keyed to the home game covenant from the participation agreement, with 7 10-year renewals at the option of SCG. So that could be an additional 70 years, taking us out to 100 years. Rent is portioned into 2 types of concepts. The first would be a fixed rent of $1 a year, so long as at least one of either the Jazz or the Mammoth are using the arena as its primary venue for home games. It would shift to market rent if no NBA or NHL franchise is using the arena as its primary venue for home games. The way that we would determine market rent would be based on third-party appraisals to be enacted by the parties. The rent is also net. The tenant, so JAI would pay for insurance, taxes, maintenance, utilities, etc. Under tenant improvements, JAI will have the right to modify existing improvements, add or remove improvements, or modify later constructed improvements. There's a section involving arena operation. There, the home game covenant, as I mentioned earlier, is part of, from the participation agreement, is part of the lease, which requires that both teams make the Delta Center their primary venue for home games for 30 years. At the expiration of the home game covenant period, and if neither an NBA or NHL franchise is using the arena as its primary venue, the tenant shall use commercially reasonable efforts to ensure the arena remains open, operational, and activated throughout the year. There are provisions in the term sheet that contemplate SCG or JAI subleasing portions of the property, or in entirety. So if there was a desire to assign or sublease the entire property, that requires CRA consent, unless, and this is pursuant to the participation agreement, there is a sale of the NBA or NHL franchise, and the NBA or NHL has approved such sale, and in that instance, only the CRA would have to be notified. But in all other instances, an entire lease of the parcel would require CRA approval. Any CRA consent or denials based on business experience, financial ability, or creditworthiness of a proposed assignee or sublessor. So that's about the entire parcel itself. If it's less than the entire property and less than 1 year, no consent is required by the CRA. No consent is required if entities are under the common control or controlled by JAI. And approval is not required for the regular turnover of sublessees. The lease does contemplate non-arena improvements being constructed on the parcel. And in those instances, there would be a sublease right. And there are different scenarios which provide different, perhaps, approval and review by the CRA. Under the first scenario, in the first 15 years of the lease, if there is an approved use is defined as a retail, entertainment, hospitality, restaurant, bar, or services use, then the CRA would have 5 business days to object to that it does not meet that approved use. Scenario 2 contemplates after those first 15 years, if there is an approved use, again, retail, hospitality, entertainment, restaurant, bar, services, then CRA would have 10 business days to review and object in writing if a proposed subtenant lacks sufficient business experience, financial ability, or creditworthiness to perform their obligations. A third scenario on subleasing and rights contemplates a sublease for something that's not an approved use, so something that's not retail, entertainment, hospitality, restaurant, bar, services. And in that instance, CRA would have 30 days to review and object on a commercially reasonable basis. And finally, the fourth scenario contemplates that, again, that there is no role for an approval on a regular turnover of a sublessee in a non-arena improvement. The lease speaks to the property being offered on an as-is, where-is condition with all faults, without warranty or representation of any kind. There's also a provision that requires the tenant to indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the city and CRA from and against all demands, claims, causes of action, judgments, losses, damages, etc. There is an environmental indemnification related to any JAI-caused environmental conditions. And there's also a provision where JAI can seek a reimbursement from the city or CRA if it is determined by a court that the city or CRA was at fault for an environmental condition. Under the aforementioned maintenance standard and property condition, the first class condition we spoke about earlier, that concept comes from the participation agreement, and we wanted to make it a maintenance standard in the lease agreement. So if at least one of the teams is using the venue for home games, then a first-class condition in compliance with applicable NBA and/or NHL rules would apply, subject to age, design, and location. If neither team is using the arena, then a first-class standard would be comparable to similar multi-purpose facilities without an NBA or NHL franchise. With respect to insurance, we've significantly expanded the types of coverage and the amounts of coverage that would be required. So first and foremost, there is a requirement for property special form insurance in an amount equal to the full then replacement cost of improvements and fixtures. There's also a requirement for umbrella or excess liability coverage of not less than $50 million. And on top of that, there are additional lines of coverage, and I'm happy to run through those fairly quickly. Commercial general liability of not less than $1 million per occurrence. Automobile insurance of not less than $2 million for bodily and injury or property damage. Business interruption insurance for 12 months for lost revenue and continuing expenses. Workers' compensation insurance in compliance with state law. Employer liability insurance of not less than $1 million. Employment practices insurance of not less than $1 million, cyber insurance of not less than $5 million, terrorism insurance in an amount to be determined by SEG or JAI, pollution liability insurance during construction of $1 million, liquor liability insurance of not less than $1 million, and then during the renovation, insurance required to be carried by the general contractor, and that would be builder's risk for full then current replacement value of the work, professional liability insurance for design professionals, architects, engineers of not less than $5 million, and an additional CGL or commercial general liability policy of not less than $20 million to be carried by their contractor. In the event that insurance proceeds would have to be dealt with if there was a claim, the term sheet speaks to how they will be used. First, they would go to the restoration and repair of the improvements on the property, so like the arena and any improvements outside of that. It'd be subject to the supervision and control of any leasehold mortgagees. If greater than 50% of replacement costs if there's damage that exceeds 50% of replacement costs, then JAI can elect to either restore or terminate the lease. If JAI elects to terminate, then the proceeds first go to the leasehold mortgagee, if there is one, then JAI to either repair the arena or raise it, then to split any remaining proceeds between JAI and CRA 50-50. Just a handful more provisions here in the term sheet. There is a right by JAI to mortgage, encumber, assign, pledge, or collaterally transfer its leasehold interest without CRA consent. JAI will have the naming rights, the exclusive naming rights for the arena. There are remedies for default. Events of default would include failure to pay rent, maintain required insurance, maintain, repair, or restore the improvements to the required standard, comply with the home game covenant, and utilize the arena on a reasonably continuous basis as required under the lease if or after both the NBA and NHL franchises are no longer utilizing the arena for home games. Remedies would be notice of default, a period to cure, and then the CRA exercising any right or remedy available under the law, including but not limited to termination of the lease. Those essentially are the terms for the term sheet before you. If you have any questions, let me know.
Board members, are there any questions to that? Pui?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chair, but I wanted to highlight a small piece of this that is not in the agreement right now, that I hope that the CRA and the JAI, they can chat about the art on the north side of the Delta block that hasn't been addressed in this agreement. But hopefully we can get to the bottom of the possible relocation or maintenance or protection of those pieces of art that the CRA back in the day participated in installing in them.
Noted, and we can have those discussions.
All right, any other questions from board members? So we are looking for a motion. It would be to approve the adopt the resolution approving the term sheet for the amended lease.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the term sheet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion from Board Member Lopez Chavez and the second from Board Member Pui. Any discussion to this motion? And Mark, was that stated okay? Was that stated okay? Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes 6-0 with Board Member Young absent. So we are on to reports and announcements. The next item is report and announcements from the Executive Director. Madam Mayor, no announcements. Chair, Vice Chair Dugan. And I don't
No
either.
announcement, no.
Danny, I think we have time to do your announcements quickly. So I'll invite Danny Waltz, the CRA staff director. I forget the exact term. The mayor's the executive director.
Just director.
You're the director.
Mayor's executive. Thank you. It's already pulled up. Next slide, please. Real quick updates. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Wanted to provide some property updates. Number one, our property that we refer to as the Whipple property on Folsom Avenue has been listed for lease. This is, we are asking for a 5 to 15 year lease of the nearly 15,000 square feet of space. This is two buildings on the property. We are interested in receiving a tenant and offers from tenants for locally owned businesses that will bring positive activity to the area. So those proposals are due on September 15th. We will rank those and select a tenant for that property. Next slide, please. Also wanted to update you as a board on our ADU construction loan program. We are continuing to work with Community Development Corporation as they are actively recruiting potential applicants. We've received significant interest in this and the outreach with a lot of promising candidates, some of whom have plans in hand already. So we anticipate providing the first round of funding beginning in September and starting to move forward with some of those applicants. Next slide, please. This slide just indicates some of the events that have happened at the ballpark and a few of the future events as we are continuing to work with partners on activating that venue. Next slide, please. Also wanted to provide an update on some of the coming events for Galvin. I know it's hot outside, but Galvin staff is actually already actively starting to look at fall and winter and getting the ice rink ready. But these are some of the events that are happening between now and the end of September. And next slide, please. And finally, a few staff updates. Number one, it is with sad news that we are announcing the transition of our financial analyst, Erin Cunningham, who will eventually be leaving the agency. Erin just hit her 5-year anniversary 2 days ago, and she is currently part-time, continuing to work for the agency. Erin has been one of our leaders for the transition to Workday. She's also overseen the organization and structuring of our housing loan portfolio, including the transfer of the Housing Trust Fund. She has greatly improved our budget process, structure, and reporting as part of the efforts within Workday, and she has been an incredible asset to the agency over the 5 years. So we will miss her, but we're incredibly fortunate that Erin and everything she does is very thoughtful, very deliberate, and as she works to move on to her next job opportunity, she has been gracious to stay on part-time to help with that transition as we move forward. With that news, as part of that transition, we were pleased to announce the hiring of Bailey White, who just started yesterday. Bailey will join Miranda Johnson as our financial analyst within the agency. Miranda has been here just under a year. Bailey has spent the past 5 years at the Road Home as the Division Director of Grants and Finance. If she sounds familiar to you, that's because previously she also had 2 years here at the city, both in CAN and Housing Stability. She's currently pursuing her Master's of Accountancy, so combining her accounting experience with her experience with housing finance, she's going to be a great asset to the agency, so we're excited to have her on board. With that, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Danny. Board members, any questions? Welcome, Bailey. I think that's you, right? Hi. Welcome to the CRA. Glad to have you. We have no written briefings and no consent agenda. We already did our closed session, so we are adjourned. Mr. Council Chair, when would you like us back?
Let's just take a 5-minute break. If you can come back at 3:40. Thank you.
I wonder where my seat.